Today, we talk about one of the most prominent minerals on the Earth's surface. Name a color, and this mineral has it. Overall, I'm very excited to share with you the footage that has been in the works for several years. This is the most important video on the channel so far. Brace yourselves, because we will journey across the world to understand Calcite. Calcite, named by Pliny the Elder from the Latin calx, meaning lime. Calcite is made up of calcium, carbon, and oxygen, and is the most common form of calcium carbonate on the planet. At 3 on the Mohs hardness scale, this mineral is a must if you want to start identifying most minerals that you come across. And so, it is of paramount importance to learn how to identify it on your mineralogical journey. Let's look at the first setting I picked: Evaporite lakes. As the water evaporates and doesn't have any other ways to flow out, the calcium and carbonate ions accumulate from the original water. Some of these lakes have a source of replenishment, resulting in accumulation that is significantly higher than that of a normal closed lake. At Mono Lake, calcite has been precipitating for thousands of years, forming crusts and tufa towers along the shores. The precipitation seems to come from both bacterial activity and a source of calcium carbonate included in the waters. This formation process is responsible for the concretions we call tufa towers, and they are quite common worldwide. They leave behind a crusty white porous rock. The crust is composed of calcite or aragonite, depending on various factors. A similar analogy can be seen in your kettle. Aragonite is the polymorph of calcite and is often difficult to distinguish from calcite, as their shapes are often strikingly similar to the untrained eye, and they form in very similar settings. Thankfully, Mother Nature has given us a tool at our disposal to quickly identify the specimen you hold in your hands. Calcite and aragonite have different hardness and crystal systems. Unfortunately, they both fizz with the touch of a weak acid, making identification a bit tricky. Because our oceans are slightly acidic and still contain the same goo as the lakes, but at a higher dilution, the accumulation of calcite occurs only above a certain depth, where the pressure and temperature are just right. Scientists refer to this as the carbonate compensation depth. Below the carbonate compensation depth, calcite dissolves faster than it accumulates. This moving boundary has shaped Earth's carbonate record for hundreds of millions of years, and it has been shown to be rising today due to ocean acidification. This brings us to my second setting of importance: marine sediment deposits. For example, here on the coast of this one happy island, Aruba, calcite accumulated in the form of limestone, shell fragments, and massive calcified corals. Over time, as these fragments fell onto the ocean floor above the CCD, the pressure from the accumulated weight transformed them into a rock, a process called lithification. Limestone is a rock made of millions of fragments of calcite, or aragonite. In Aruba, the process is still eroding its shores, and the results can be absolutely dramatic and impressive. If we go to another island, we will find an example of our third setting: hydrothermal veins. Here, on the big island around a volcano called Kilauea, are fumaroles and hydrothermal alteration zones created by the outgassing of the magma through crevices and fault systems. Calcite in these settings often appears alongside quartz and many other sulfides on the walls of these cracks. Since this calcite often showcases more impressive crystal sizes, it will clearly reveal its vitreous to subvitreous luster and trigonal crystal system. These crystals can be up to several meters in size. That is some treasure you don't want to miss. If these high temperatures and pressures hit a system containing limestone, you remember that rock from Aruba? We end up with a rock called marble. Yes, that is how these rocks in the Pantheon were first formed. This rock shows a more granular to sugary texture. A few other settings for calcite includes caves, where it forms stalactites or stalagmites, and in travertine deposits. You've probably seen this type of specimen in most rock shops, sold as onyx, coming from Pakistan. It turns out to be calcite formed in a similar manner to stalactites and travertine deposits. Real onyx is made from silica, and you can learn more about it in another video that you can watch right now. Wow, that was a heavy video, wasn't it? But heavy with excitement. There is so much to learn from calcite, and I barely scratched the surface of the ocean floor. Lately, scientists have even discovered that iron oxides, such as goethite, can also trap dissolved organic carbon, but in tiny spheres called ooids. These ooids are usually made of calcium carbonate and coated with iron. A new study shows these rust pearls recorded ocean rise in oxygenation over the last 1.65 billion years. I cover goethite's story in full, and yes, the link is on the screen. By the way, there's another carbonate mineral called dolomite that always gets mistaken for calcite and vice versa. It only fizzes weakly in acid, if even at all. From volcanoes to desert lakes and cave ceilings, calcite leaves its fingerprint in many different geological settings on our planet. With over 800 different mineral shapes, it will keep you entertained for a lifetime. Thankfully, you only need to learn the most basic ones, and the rest are mostly just a tweak of these. I highlighted the main ones throughout the video, so feel free to watch it over and over and over and over and over and over again to become familiar with them, of course, and be sure to leave a comment. For more on everything about minerals, visit my channel, Mendex. Thank you for sticking to the end, and please do not forget to caldera the like and subscribe buttons. Peace out. And they were due to ocean acidic